50 years ago, my father went to Dublin to seek out details of his great-grandfather Patrick Farrell's life, but without success. The only piece of info we'd had about Patrick was a note from an uncle suggesting that he had been involved with horses and/or was a physician. More recently, a Canadian cousin, Mark, sent me a photo of this portrait, which he thought could be Patrick. To me, that seemed highly likely, until I looked closely at his coat and realized that it had brass buttons and an epaulette on the right shoulder. This was an early 19th century Navy dress uniform. Meantime, an ancestry DNA match informed me that I had potentially shared a 3 times great-grandfather with an Australian lady via a Martha Farrell, born 1829, daughter of a James Farrell of Kingstown, Dublin, and the only person of that name I could find in the records during the mid-19th century was a former Royal Naval surgeon who had a practice in George's Street, Kingstown. Then I remembered that as a boy, my father took me to see HMS Victory in Portsmouth Dockyard and told me that according to a family story, an ancestor had been on Victory at the Battle of Trafalgar when Admiral Nelson died. I'll let James tell the brief life story that I pieced together using real and circumstantial evidence.
I was born in County Dublin, Ireland, around 1782, into a fairly prosperous branch of the family, with connections to James, the Catholic brewer and money lender. I was given a very good education, and by 1798, I had gained the passes in maths and Latin that allowed me to be apprenticed to a reputable Dublin surgeon for 5 years, thereby making me eligible for service in the Royal Navy by 1803. As a new entry, for the first few years I wasn't trusted with any actual surgery, but by 1813 I was officially an assistant surgeon because the British Naval Chronicle publication listed me as having been appointed to the Royal Navy's gun brig, Furious. Then later that same year, I was promoted to full surgeon. The Furious was an 18-gun brig sloop that had been launched in 1807. We were involved in several actions during the Napoleonic Wars, including the Battle of Basque Roads in 1814. Following Waterloo and Boney's defeat, I was retired back to Kingstown and appointed agent for sick and wounded seamen. But the income was insufficient. I had to get a job, and in April 1821 I was appointed as doctor to the massive Kingstown Harbour project. The construction workers were having many accidents, some very serious. Then, in 1824, with the project near complete, I applied for the post of surgeon to the prison hulk, Essex, lying in the harbour, but without success. Just as well, it was a terrible place. Finally, in the early 30s I set up a practice as surgeon and accoucheur in George Street, Kingstown, specializing in childbirth. Later I added medical doctor to my services and business flourished. Meanwhile, my wife Elizabeth and I had been busy raising a family, and with our improving situation we had been able to lease our charming Rose Cottage in Killiney, a beautiful area south of Kingstown where many wealthy Dubliners had country houses. Life was good.